Hi everyone, I'm Odelia, and today I'm going to talk about forgetting. So you all heard enough about machine learning, I guess, maybe much more than you ever wanted to. But today we're going to destroy it. We're going to take some piece of data and trying to forget it. And I think there is no one in the audience from computer science, so I'm going to start to lie away. So let me first take you back for the first beginning of the internet when everything was wired and beautiful and naturally dominated by women. And quite quickly after it, people started communicating freely, acquiring knowledge, and then really oversharing private information. It took us another few years to say, oh, maybe we should wait with it. Maybe someone's looking. Maybe we should try to pick what to share and what not to share. So the first one to go was the password. Okay, if someone's looking, I don't want to share my password because I need to hide it. But if I'm not sharing password, maybe credit card numbers are also supposed to be private. Maybe in general, all my personal information is supposed to be private. I don't want weird people to call me in the middle of the night. I will hide my number as well. And even the toilet pregnancy Q&A, they're supposed to be private. Why? Because today everyone can Google you, and if they Google you and they find it, not so good. So what do you do if you already overshared? No worries, we have a solution and we call it unsubscribe. Everyone who ever collected your data is lawfully enforced to give you the opportunity to erase it. So what do you mean unsubscribe? Not only stop sending me email or stop calling me at night, just erase my personal info from your data set. Okay, so now everyone tell me, Odelia, no one's used Google anymore. It passed. We all asked GPT. So what happened with all our data inside of these chatbots? So they learned all the useful data in Wikipedia and all the code that exists in GitHub and everything about animals and maybe even nature, but they also learned everything about me and you. What meaning that if in some point in time you had some embarrassing thing in the internet and you think you unsubscribed it, if it's already curated to this data set, you're lost, you're doomed, it's forever there. So how can we unsubscribe from these kind of things? If I wake up tomorrow morning and I want to disappear, and I don't want to be in this data set anymore, should this chatbot learn everything again but me? So if it sounds infeasible, you're correct. It is infeasible, and this is why we're here to talk about unlearning. We're trying to find a feasible solution to forget one specific piece of data from all the data we've already learned. So I don't know if you know this great movie. If not, go watch it. And spoiler alert, I'm going to show you a short video to see how they performed unlearning. And we're going to come up to something very similar to what they do.
My name is Joel Barish, and I'm here to erase Clementine Krasinski.
Very good. Now, tell me about Clementine.
I was living with this woman, Naomi, a couple of years ago, and my friends Rob and Carrie invited us to this party at the beach. I don't like parties. Naomi couldn't go, but I went, and I met Clementine.
I'm sorry. Start with your most recent memories and work backwards from there, more or less. There's an emotional core to each of our memories, and when you eradicate that core, it starts its degradation process. And by the time you wake up in the morning, all the memories we targeted would have withered and disappeared, as in a dream upon waking.
Is there any risk of brain damage?
Well, technically speaking, the procedure is brain damage, but it's on a par with a night of heavy drinking. Nothing you'll miss.
So what are we doing with our machine learning models is quite similar to what they try to do with his. So what is the general idea? If we have some knowledge, in order to learn something, we're going to add something to this knowledge. So if we want to unlearn this thing, all we have to do is just subtract this knowledge. No? Sounds quite simple. All part of the theoretical idea saying that if our machine learning model can be expressed as a sum of everything we already learned, and we're just going to subtract the thing we want to unlearn, these two would gonna get up, like in 11th grade. And we're in this process with a model that knows everything other than us. So everyone who did research, even one day in his life, is looking at it and saying, you're cute, it's not gonna work. And it doesn't even have to be computer science research. Everyone is telling me, it's too simple, it's not gonna work. So the great privilege of researching machine learning is that everything you can ever think of, someone had thought about it, and someone had tried. And specifically this one has actually worked. So what do you mean it works? There is a tiny star that maybe, and sometimes, like everything in machine learning is maybe working, and sometimes, and we mainly cannot really know how to explain why not, or what happened there. So specifically in machine learning, we want to talk about two main issues. One is the question, will it still remember all the rest? Am I going to disrupt weird memories? Can I actually keep the same good performance on the rest of the data set, or it's going to be decreased? And this thing is quite easily testable, because just test if it can do it. But what is the more tricky thing is how can we assure forgetting? So in the movie, they show us all kinds of things that are disappearing, and her figure is disappearing. But what would you expect to see if I tell you, okay, there is a chatbot, and now this chatbot forgot you? How are you going to get convinced of the thing? So if it was just a data set, and I have my number here, and I want to verify that someone forgot me, just show me the data set, and I'll say my number is erased, happy, happy. Well, what happens if I'm talking to a chatbot? Am I going to ask him? It sounds like a bit counterintuitive, no? I'm not going to ask the service, have you forgotten me? It's so great. And we know that ChatGPT lies, for example, all the time, and all the answers are really, really question dependent. So how should I ask, or should I assure that he's not lying to me, or maybe hiding this information of me? So you don't. I tell you, trust no one, except theory. Because actually what we did in theory is that we can actually formulate this model as a sum of everything it learns and isolate the factor of the influence of sum x. And then we can actually subtract it. And we don't need this ghost. We can use the actual numbers. And it doesn't matter what the numbers, it matters that we can do it and then test if this method is actually working. And it can teach us why is it working and why isn't it working. So if we use this technique, we can say, okay, still remember all the rest, easily testable, we already covered it. And we can actually assure forgetting, because as in the movie, we just summed up all the influence X has on this model and just erased it. Another interesting thing we discovered is the key weakness of this method, which is commonly used today. It means when we need to know the exact amount of things we need to subtract. Even if we're taking only half of it or twice as it, is going to ruin the entire thing. We cannot assure forgetting, and we surely cannot still assure that we'll still remember all the rest. Okay, so summing everything up, I showed you a problem. I showed you a simple solution that may be sometimes working and sometimes not. And mainly I show you that if you want to ask why, your answer is theory. Why is it working? Why isn't it working? This is us. So in machine learning research, the applied research is moving so much faster than theory, and so much things are already working, and we have no idea why it's working, or it doesn't even supposed to work theoretically. But we're there, we're going to, and we're coming. Thank you.